it's Congressman Rick Larsen. I'm here with my 11th Facebook Live event. Very exciting day today because it's 3 days plus about 3.5 hours until your ballots are due. And so I'll cover that in a moment. But I wanted to spend a little time getting you an update on the last 2 weeks in Washington, D.C. I just got back today from D.C. I'm in Everett in my campaign office today. A few things that we did and one big thing that we haven't yet done. But we passed Representative Frederica Wilson's bill to create a federal commission to study the social disparities that are affecting black men and black boys in the U.S. It creates a commission. It's called the Commission on Black Men and Black Boys. Representative Wilson from Florida, she's the prime sponsor. We moved that over to the Senate, called upon the Senate to pass this bill so we can put the full force of our country behind identifying specifically what these disparities are. Many we know already, but then doing something about it. We passed the Great American Outdoors Act this week to permanently and fully fund the Land and Water Conservation Fund. Since its creation of over 50 years ago, Washington State's received about $675 million from the Land and Water Conservation Fund to preserve important public lands, including lands in the Cascades, in the Wild Sky Wilderness, bill that I created as part of my Wilderness Act in the 2000s. And we've used the Land and Water Conservation Fund as well to save land in Evie's Landing Reserve on Whidbey Island, and many other places as well. And we can get you a list if you ask. We can get you a list of the projects that have been funded over the last 50 years from Land and Water Conservation. And this is an important part of protecting our environment here in the Northwest, so I hope you'll continue to support it. We passed 2 bills this week to provide relief to Americans for child care, because we know, even before COVID-19, we knew that child care and the cost of child care was something impacting middle class and working families all over the country. And we passed 2 bills. The Child Care is Essential Act, that creates a $50 billion grant program to help keep child care affordable for working families. And the Child Care for Economic Recovery Act. This provides an improved and fairer tax benefits for families and working caregivers supporting struggling families. So child care is an important part of the reopening of our economy. We need to be able to ensure that we're supporting working families so that they can afford the child care that their children need. So the campaign is, as far as the primary is going, coming to a near close. I said 3 days and 3 hours plus coming up. You have until Tuesday night, August 4th at 8 p.m. to get your ballot in a drop box, and that is what I would suggest that you do at this point, is to get it in a, go to a drop box and not mail it at this point. So please, you can mail it if you want, but it needs to be postmarked by Tuesday in order for your vote to count. And I'm just not sure if the U.S. Postal Service is going to be able to turn those ballots around fast enough. I hope that they will. Meanwhile, I do hope you choose a ballot box drop-off for your vote. We've been working really hard. We haven't been able to doorbell any doors, as you might imagine, but we've made more than 19,000 calls and 93,000 texts have gone out throughout the 2nd Congressional District from this campaign, asking for your support and support from many others. So this is a grassroots campaign. It always has been, and it will be all the way through the general election as well. And I imagine when we have our Republican opponent come Wednesday morning, we will begin being able to define this election as what it really is, about the future of this country, and do you want Democrats to lead, or do we want 4 more years of Donald Trump? I don't want that. I want 4 more years. I want 4 years of Democratic leadership in the White House, 6 years in the Senate, and 2 more years in the House, and we'll get on to the next election in 2 years. But Let's get out there and vote. You can go to ricklarsen.org/volunteer to join Team Larsen over the next couple of days. Check out our Facebook site and our new website as well for sign waving locations. We'll be waving signs over the next several days. Not just keeps me out of the office, but gets us all a chance to get outside. We'll be wearing masks, so if you do show up, bring your own mask. And we'll do some socially distant, appropriate sign waving. Finally, there are some questions that a few folks have written in about. And the first one is, with all that's happening with COVID-19, will the Fed step in with any funding, or will that be up to the states and school districts? Great question, because this is really the crux of the debate going on right now. And I told you I flew in today, I'm in Everett. I'm on a 24-hour leash. That is, the negotiation for the next version of COVID-19 relief is going on. It's not going well right now, but think about this. 11 weeks ago, Democrats passed the HEROES Act, $3 trillion bill to help keep our economy moving despite the pandemic. Nearly $1 trillion for state, local, tribal, and territorial governments. Over $100 billion directly for school districts. And during that time, that 11 weeks, the Senate Republicans dithered. They didn't do anything. And I tell you, you could say this is partisan, it might sound so. Well, it is. The Republicans in the Senate chose to do nothing for 11 weeks. We passed the HEROES Act. It's a good bill. It includes help so that for state and local governments and local school districts and tribal governments, so that it is not on the backs of state and local school districts. We need to help them fill up the holes in their budget so that we can continue to provide basic, important services to Americans all over this country. So I hope you'll support the HEROES Act. And related to that is the fact that our bill includes extending the $600 per week unemployment insurance through January. The Republicans have proposed a $200 a week expiring in September, and then moving to some other complex formula that no state is ready to implement. In other words, they've offered one thing in return for the HEROES Act, which covered a broad scope of what we need to do in this country to get past COVID-19. Unemployment insurance, help for state and local and tribal and territorial governments, help for the U.S. Postal Service, protection for workers to require an infection control standard during pandemics so that workers are protected under OSHA regulations during this pandemic. A variety of other things. And importantly, $25 billion for the U.S. Postal Service, $75 billion for testing and contact tracing, and $3.6 billion more for state and local governments to help implement the 2020 elections. And the next question I had is, can you give a quick update on the state of the election and protecting voting rights and vote by mail? There is no fraud directly related to vote by mail. Is there fraud in voting? Yes. Ask the Republicans. The big cases of fraud over the last several years have been caused by Republicans, not by Democrats. Is there fraud inherent in vote by mail? No, there is not. And the president is directly trying to undermine the integrity of the U.S. election, probably doing more than Vladimir Putin and his Russian hackers ever thought they could get him to do. And that is what he is doing, is undermining our election. Don't take the bait. The best way to beat this is go out and vote. Vote in our state. Tell your friends in other states to vote. If they have to wait in line a long time with their mask on, I know it's going to be difficult. Please stay in line to vote. It's absolutely critical. Meanwhile, the integrity of this election, the integrity of the voter database, the way we vote, the way in-state votes, it is being protected as well. It is being protected as best we can from foreign intrusion and foreign interference in our election. But frankly, as it always is, the greatest threat to any democracy comes from within. And the best way to beat that this year is, well, two ways. One, pass the HEROES Act with our $3.6 billion to help state and local governments implement this 2020 election fairly And second is get out there and vote, and no matter what the president says, no matter what he says, get out there and vote. So I'll do my part. I need you to do your part. That's a Facebook Live event for Saturday, August 1st. I think it's August 1st today, if I'm not mistaken. And I want to thank everyone for joining in today. Thanks for the questions, and keep them coming. So again, ricklarsen.org/volunteer if you want to volunteer over the next couple of days or beyond, because we're going to be in the general election, and or for sign waiving in the next couple of days. Thanks a lot.